Hey guys, Christy Shelton from foreverandafter.com, and I wanted to come live with you guys today to kind of share with you the 8 signs of food addiction. I feel like this is something that's often overlooked. It didn't start getting a lot of attention or acknowledgement as being a legitimate addiction until pretty recently, and a lot of people have trouble or issues with food and they're not really sure, if their issues are legit or if it's something that they just kind of feel like they're struggling with. So, sign number 1 is frequent cravings for certain foods despite feeling full. And I am sharing this with you guys mostly because I am a food addict myself, and it's really hard to admit that. And as I was going through and creating this list of these steps and really evaluating things, these fall in line with a study that was done by Yale. And basically, if you identify with 4 to 5 of the things on this list, you probably have a problem with food. And if you identify with 6 or more of the things on this list, then you probably are a food addict and you need to actually take steps to improve your life and change your behavior. So sign number 1 was frequent cravings for certain foods even after you're full. Like, I don't know how many of you guys struggle with food. I can eat even when I'm not hungry if it's the right foods. Like, I can eat a full dinner and still want to go get ice cream afterwards just because I love ice cream and sugar is one of my cravings. I always crave sweets. Candy bars and cookies and cake, I'll always make room for dessert. And I've been like that for a really long time. Sign number 2 is giving into cravings and eating a lot more than you plan to eat. So I don't know if you set boundaries for yourself and you say, okay, I'm just going to have one little piece of cake, or I'm just going to have one little cookie, and you quickly find that you've eaten a whole sleeve of Oreos, or you ate, not just one piece of cake, but maybe the whole cake. That is a sign that you may have a problem with food. When you eat what you were craving, so much so that sometimes you make yourself sick. Have you ever sat down and eaten like a whole tub of ice cream? I have. And afterwards I felt miserable. My stomach was so bloated and upset. I've done it more than once, unfortunately. It's like you expect that you learn from your lesson, but then, you find yourself doing it again. Sign number 4, you feel guilty, but you find yourself eating the food again and again. Again, like every time I cheat on myself, or every time I eat something that I say I'm not going to, or I break my calorie bank for the day, or my points, or whatever I'm counting, to try to keep myself on track to eat healthy, every time I bust that and I eat something I'm not supposed to, I feel guilty, but that guilt is never enough to make it to where I never eat that food again. I find myself in the same pattern over and over again. Sign number 5, you make excuses and you justify why it's okay to have whatever the food is that you're craving. So I don't know how many people kind of reward themselves with food. I've done that my whole life. It's been a really hard habit to try and break. And for the most part, I have it broken, but sometimes I still fall into old habits where, I find myself saying, well, I had a hard day. It's okay to have a piece of cake. Or, I worked really hard. I had a really hard workout this morning. It's okay if I eat a cookie or a cupcake or a muffin, and those are things that you just have to kind of reprogram your brain to deal with. Number 6, you've repeatedly tried to quit eating certain foods, or you set rules like you're only going to have one cheat day a week, or maybe you're just going to have one cheat meal. And after that cheat meal, you end up doing another cheat meal or another cheat day. I have a really hard time doing cheat days, like whole days, because then the next day it's really hard for me to get back on track. I can usually manage if I do just one cheat meal where I just kind of treat myself and eat. And I don't even like to call it a cheat meal. I like to call it, like a treat or something like that, because the word cheat to me makes me feel guilty for having it in the first place. Number 7, you hide your consumption of food from others. I'm totally guilty of this. And the sad reality is when you do this, yeah, people aren't seeing you eat the food, but people also aren't seeing you lose the weight. They're not seeing you, they're not seeing the benefits of the hard work that you're putting in. They may see you eating salads and, drinking a protein shake, but if you're not losing weight, that's going to be an indicator to people that, hey, maybe there's something else going on with this person, whether it be that they're eating behind closed doors or that they're really not doing the things that they say they're doing because they're not getting any results at all. And number 8 is that you continue to consume these unhealthy foods even though that you know there's consequences for them. So like for me, I'm a sugar addict. I have a really hard time with sugar and carbs and sweets. And I know that doing like eating these foods over and over again continues to put me on the same path where I'm either gaining weight or I'm not losing weight despite working out and despite making better choices in some areas of my life. And I know that it's going to result in weight gain, but for some reason, I still do it anyway. Throughout the rest of this series, I'm going to share with you guys some more details on these different steps of or signs of food addiction. And also, I'm going to share with you guys some tips on how to overcome it, how to try to start programming your mind to where you don't need to rely on giving into that craving for sugar or carbs. I right now am in day 2 of a 3-day cleanse, and I've been sick all day because I haven't had any sugar, and I've had like the worst headache ever because my body is detoxing. They actually have done studies and they show that the addictive properties of sugar are the same as like cocaine or heroin. Like it triggers the same addiction response in your brain. The same parts of your brain light up on a scan when coming in contact with sugar, just like they do with like the harshest drugs that we hear. It's just that sugar is completely legal and people don't often think about it in terms of, you know, something that could be that bad for them. So I hope that you'll continue through the rest of this series with me so that we can really talk about the ins and outs of food addiction and how to handle it if it's something that you're dealing with yourself. And I will catch you guys later. Thanks.